Welcome to game week 1. So this is your review for the first game week of the season. Welcome to the 7 of you. The first time we've got an 8-man league, and it's fantastic. So no messing around. I'm going to dive in with the scores on the doors. So I hope you can all see that. So you've got the first bit of analysis here. Game 1, Scranton Stranglers 163 to Chudley Cannons 117. There's a win for me, and that took me top score, and that's the reason I'm sat here doing the review. Then you had Bukaki Jackies 83 and the Sani Mani Happy Days 74 points. So first bit of beef. Sani Mani Happy Days don't even have Sani and Mani, so someone's gonna have to trade. Right, Peaky and De Bruyne does have De Bruyne. That's okay. He doesn't have Peaky, but he's not in the league. 85 to 126, Colo wins, and Atletico picked 111 starting the season as he means to go on against 126.75 for STP. So then scores, we all know what they are, we've seen them. So now the analysis. So slide 1, make sure you can see this. So here's all the competitors. So going through the matchups. This isn't that clear, so I'll send it out later. There's also not enough room for my beautiful face. Matchup 1, matchup 2, matchup 3, matchup 4. So what this shows, you've got the grey goalies, blue defenders, the light orange / yellow are the midfielders, and the orange are the attackers. So someone here, this guy, bossed the strikers with the best performing part of any field. They scored more than any other team. And then you've got, who's this here? CCFC3, that'd be Colo. He had the best midfield. The Chudley Cannons over here, they had the best defence. And the BJs had the best keeper. So what this shows, matchup to matchup, some big scores pulled in matchup 1. Matchup 2, the Tiddlers down here, the Bukaki Jackies and Sani Mani Happy Days, they both pulled in some very small scores. Matchup 3, Peaky and De Bruyne's not great against CCFC, who pulled in a huge defensive performance. Not much in the way of attack on any of these 4 here. STP versus Tin. Some decent defences in there. Tin's defence pretty good. Yeah, some bang average really, those two. I'll show you it all in a bit of detail. There's the two best ones, and then some more going that way, and then a bit more, and then that, and then there's the full thing for you in all its beauty. That took the best part of all my work there. So there's the makeup of the scores in rank of where they were on the pitch. Right, next one. How did you score your points? What day did you score your points? Right, I've realised that it's dark and this is far away. You're not going to be able to see the colours, but basically, I didn't score that many points on Friday. I scored a far ton of points on Saturday, continued the trend into Sunday and scored a load. There was a bit of a muchness down here in the middle of the weekend. Who's this on the bottom? Sani Mani, who didn't have Sani Mani, the yellow at the bottom there. Started off small, stayed small, ended small. And then there was these 2 dudes here, which are STP, no it's not, the Peaky and De Bruyne's and the BJs. They basically didn't score anything on Sunday, which was their downfall because they were in the running, going through the week of having a good score. Yeah, so I'll send this out. I'll send you all a copy so you can actually see it and that. So that's how you all scored your points. Right, next. So this is the section I call the review of the draft versus game week 1. So this is dead interesting. Should have sat in a different seat. Right, so only looking at starting 11 players, where did we all get our points from in the draft? So you got game week 1 through to game week 16, and these are the players who were picked up after the draft. So if you have a look at that, the game week 1ers, they didn't deliver this week. We all picked shit first picks. Game week 2 dudes, they pulled it out of the bag. There's a peak here, which is game week 8. There was a lot of game week 8 players played well. And then all the way back here, another peak at 13. The 13s, unlucky for some, they all did well. And then right at the end there, the post-draft players, they pulled in some massive scores. So the 4 for next season, when you're doing your picks, you need to prioritise your second pick, 8th pick, 13th pick, and afterwards. So maybe don't even bother drafting, just pick up players after, because they score pretty much the same as everywhere apart from the second pick. So do a second pick and then just wait after. So I've then got busy work day today, had a lot to get through. This is how your starting 11 scored as a like a result of the draft. So obviously you scored 0 points if you didn't play your first pick. You scored 0 points if you didn't play your 5th pick. But this is how we all got to our final total for the week in a cumulative fashion. So you can't really see much on there. So I broke it down into game weeks. So right here you've got Sani Manis against Mikaki Jargis. So what happened here was the Sani Manis were actually hammering all the way through their draft picks, pick for pick. They were beating the Mikaki Jargis pick for pick. And then right at the end, all the players he picked up after the draft got him just over the line. So amazing work there, really. So Kyle's draft there shows a very poor curve. He's bottom of the draft pile. Looking at this slide here, that's him along the bottom. So worst drafter, but he put so many players in after. He chopped and changed, and it worked for him. So that was the result of that lineup. And then lineup 2, Peaky and De Bruyne's versus Colo FC 2. So the way that this one worked was Colo started off better, pick for pick, stayed better, and then he get to the end there, and basically they all just played the first 11 players that they picked. So the Peaky and De Bruyne's ran out of steam at about pick 13 there. Colo had a bit more left in the tank, and then he had a player he picked up after, obviously got him a little bit of a Brucey bonus. God rest his soul. Right, the most competitive one of the week, I think. STP looking sharp as a dart, and he's all the way buttoned up waistcoat, and the 10 chose there. So pick for pick through to round 5 there, they were neck and neck, and then Tim pulled out a bit of a lead, and then Steve pulled it back to levels, and then Steve got ahead, Tim pulled it back to levels, Steve got ahead a little bit again, Steve just ran out of steam. Tim did it, I think. No, he didn't, that's the other way around. So I put the pictures the wrong way around. So everything I said, switch, reverse it. Orange won, which is Steve in his suit. So there's that one. This wasn't worth all the work I did. Lineup 4, me versus the Trudley Canons. So again, first 4 rounds, pick the pick. Couldn't choose anything between it. And then Huller pulled out a big lead. Round 9, he ran out of steam, didn't score anything after that. And I got a big Brucey bonus at the end with my post-draft players like Callum Wilson, who scored a boatload of points. So yeah, there's one more look at that. So another one, still only about 10 to go, don't worry. So this chart shows how reliant are people on the big clubs. So this blue bar, top 5 last season, orange 6 to 10, grey 11 to 15, the yellow, little yellow 16, 17th, and then the promoted clubs are these blue ones on top. So go along Tin, Colo, BJ's, PNGB, me, Chudley Cannons, Sani Manis, and STP. So STP is the least reliant on the big 4 clubs, along with the SMDH, Sani Mani. The most reliant up here is Tin, with over 80% of his starting 11 from the top 5 from last season. And this is the sliding scale down here, so you can see it doesn't actually, there's no correlation. It's not remarkable whether you have loads of top 5 players or not in game week 1. Told you there was going to be analysis, right? This is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's like the Oscars, the awards, right? So I'm going to just read these out. I'm not going to let you read them. So we've got some awards to dish out. Most goals, Scranton Stranglers, 4 goals. Most key passes, there was a tie, 11 key passes for the most, and that was Scranton Stranglers and the Chudley Cannons. Well done, 2-pack. Most assists, another tie. So Atletico and Pricked got some. Yeah, and Pricked. They got some assists. They got 4 assists, and so did the Scranton Stranglers. See the trend appearing here. Most shots on target were the Scranton Stranglers. Most tackles won were the Bukaki Jackies. Most yellows, Sani Mani Happy Days, so they get some minus points. And then the award for best defensive performance goes to, for most clearances and most aerials, STP got 23 clearances and 20 aerials. More aerials than he knows what to do with. But STP was also dispossessed the most, so he was dispossessed 22 times with 11 players, so not looking great there. So I've got a section called honourable mentions. So my honourable mention for the week is Bukaki Jackies, who managed to somehow get 1 goalkeeper key pass and 1 goalkeeper interception. So, I mean, it boggles the mind how that happened, but well done. So it's honourable. Secondly, dishonourable mentions. So all the statistics, this is what they told us, the dishonourable mention for this week. Atletico and Pricked, because they only managed 2 shots on target, bearing in mind I had 10, and they only won 4 tackles, whereas Bukaki Jackies won 12. 11 players, maybe tough keeper, 10 outfield players, 4 tackles, so shit, needs to be his game next week, dishonourable. Right, the next awards section we are calling Bang Average Player of the Week. This is a 4-way tie, so if you look at the 88 players who played, who's bang average, bang in the middle average. 10 points this week was the bang average number for players, and there was 4 players. So those 4 players are Asmir Bagovic, plays for me. David Luiz also plays for me. You've got Wilfred Zaha, who plays for Colo Colo, and Ben Davies, who plays for the Chudley Cannons. And that concludes the section bang average. Wall of Shame is up next, so we had 2 players getting minus points this week. Gylfi Sigurdsson and Socrates Papadopoulos. They both got minus points this week, so they're on the Wall of Shame. They're going to get fixed up here on the Wall of Shame behind me for everyone in Singapore to see. Right, we're on to the last 2 slides now. Right, so this is top of the pops. So the top of the pops this week, we've got the Olympic podium, as you can see there. Do it like this, not bad. So the top scoring player this week was Marnie, who doesn't play for the Sani Marnies. He plays for Chudley Cannons, so that 30.5 points wasn't enough to knock me off winning the game. Second place, you've got Benjamin Mendy, which I'm livid about because I picked him up last season, knowing he was going to be class. He broke his bloody leg, and someone nabbed him this season. He got 30.25 points, so he's going to be gutted that he narrowly misses out on the crown of being top of the pops with his prize there of the night with Timothy Saville. And then third, he didn't get drafted. I picked him up at 2 o'clock when the lineups came out with a bit of difficulty. Callum Wilson, honourable mention, 26.5 points. He was third. He gets third choice of which bit Jimmy Saville he wants to touch. So really that's probably more of a punishment than anything. So all there is left to do now is to show you what that means for the league table. So the league table as it stands is like this. You can't really see it. I'm top. Looks like Steve next. The Colo Colos, Bukaki Jackies, the Chudley Cannons. I'm reading it upside down and it's a little bit blurry. That just looks like a load of nothing. Atletico and Pricked, and the 2 new boys down at the bottom. So unfortunate for the new boys, but I think you know what you need to do next week to up your game. It's been a very statistical preview. There's not been much exciting visual effects, no spaffwaffers, no dog shits, no cinnamon, no shit jumpers, no horse heads, and more importantly, no penises. So, thank you for listening. That was the game week 1. That was the game week. Review.